Ladies and gentlemen, I have brought my distractor, okay? All right. Affectionately in Rico, these are our robot dogs, okay? We call them dogs because I give them to soldiers and soldiers look after the dog. It is just the human way. It is amazing. I have brought this as my distraction just to show you that this is one of the things that Rico is looking after and providing to you guys all out there. Okay, it is not the only thing, but it is the thing that everybody seems to be fascinated. I have a major in my team that calls it the Fate Fascinator because I can take it anywhere and I can draw an audience as soon as I'm dancing. Okay, whether I'm doing silly things like, well, let me press some buttons and going side to side or whatever else. And you're thinking, why is there a Lieutenant Colonel driving around a remote control robot? Okay, my background is all on there, please go see it, but from a short perspective, I'll give you a quick download of how I came into this position because I think it's really important for you guys in Army to understand where I came from and where I am currently. Okay, lucky enough to start off as a soldier and then go through RMC. I'm not going to give you the full story, okay, but I'm a logistician, a mechanical engineer, a logistic planner, and now I'm looking after robots. Okay, for my previous 3 years, I was the senior principal or the principal maintenance engineer within Headquarters Forces Command. I've gone from looking after everything from a bayonet to a main battle tank and all of its maintenance to now coming in to being the SME on all things robots and everything that I'm about to cover. Okay, so please understand that I am not a quantum physicist. I'm going to cover off on some quantum pieces. I am not an AI specialist. Okay, I have some great people within my team, okay, that are all providing me the guidance and at the rapid rate, not just giving me soldiers 5s, but giving me Lieutenant Colonel 2 hours, 3 hours, and then adding on to that the Alex Palmer of 4 or 5 more hours so I can understand it. Throughout my presentation, I am going to go through a number of things to allow you guys to actually see, because I can't actually get you to do. The things that we are providing you are these aspects for you guys to explore. That's why I'm getting into the soldiers' hands so you guys can actually be on tool. It is the only way Army is going to learn these systems and understand their limitations. There is no one robot that can do it all. There is no one weapon system that can do it all. That's why we have multiple weapon systems. Okay? This dog is great to be walking up and down stairs. Okay, put a load of sensors on it, send it into harm's way rather than putting a human. I can do that with wheeled robots. I can do it with large unmanned ground vehicles. There are a number of applications, but Army needs it all. We need to explore it all. Okay, fingers crossed. As all good Army presentations, let me just have Quake here sit down for me, if I can get it. Sit. All right. I'll stop hiding behind my control unit and actually get on with my presentation. So as in all good presentations, this is the scope that I've got. Okay, I'm going to give you some strategic context of where Rico came from. Okay, I'll provide our role. I'll cover off on what applications we are currently doing. And that is the main reason that I'm here, is to tell you guys what we're doing, because your counterparts out there, not only here in Brisbane, but in Darwin and everywhere else around the country, are utilising things from Rico, or will soon be utilising things from Rico. Whether that's in the quantum space, power and energy space, within my robotics and autonomous system space, dealing with small robots, optionally crew combat vehicles, lead follower, as well as some stuff that's happening in the AI. I'll then quickly go through some challenges and where we're going to go into the future if I've got time. And then, more importantly, there should be enough time in my presentation for a good discussion, okay? It will only work if the guys here in the audience actually give me some questions. What I want to be doing is doing the box thing as a Lieutenant Colonel, dancing in here because I haven't got my body armour on, and I want you guys to give me the hard questions. If I can't answer them today, I will let you know that, and then I will come back to you in the future. All good Army presentations have where we sit in the world. My DG stood up here this morning and gave you an eloquent presentation on future land warfare. I work for him, for Colonel Robin Smith as the Director RECO. Colonel Robin Smith provides his apologies. Unfortunately, he's about to jump on a plane and go to Monteghita to see a demonstration and file milestone of one of the projects that I'll cover up later on in the presentation. From a context setting, my boss spoke about the force structure plan as one of the key capstone documents we as an army are using. Within RECO, that force structure plan spoke about the creation of RECO. And it also speaks to having a brigade of RAS, or up to a brigade of RAS. Doesn't say what that could be, okay? We own that problem. But rather than me talking, let me, fingers crossed, if I've got current technology working, noting that I'm SO1 emerging technology and not so good with current technology, fingers crossed my presentation works.
In the future, war will be different, so we must be too. The Army must be future ready as well as ready now. We live in an era of uncertainty, where advances in technology have changed our strategic warning time. We must be agile, operating as a part of joint and allied forces on the land, to the land, from the land, and in space. We must become more protected, connected, lethal, and enabled. And we will achieve that while keeping people at the heart of everything we do. Our people support the nation every day. They are ready to respond to unexpected events wherever they occur and succeed in an environment of uncertainty. We gain trust and succeed when we embrace diversity and work as partners across defence, government, and with the Australian people. It is the Army training system that gives us the ability to adapt and respond quickly to domestic and world events with state-of-the-art equipment. Approximately $55 billion is being invested in Army to 2030 to build the force we need in 2040. Army's land power is part of and enables the joint force from infantry, armour and artillery to engineers, aviation and special forces. This also includes our enabling elements such as communications, logistics, and intelligence. We will be more agile and effective than ever before. We will continue to invest in combat vehicles, information warfare capabilities, and next-generation aerial systems to drive greater capability advantage over the decades to come. We are designing and building the Army which will protect Australia in the future. That means exploring and harnessing innovation and advanced technology, including emerging robotics, autonomous systems, and quantum technology to keep us at the cutting edge. We're continuing to invest in our cyber capability to keep our systems safe and drive an information advantage. We are ready now and continually evolving, supporting our people to fight and win in any domain. This is essential, because the Army we plan today will be the Army we rely on in a changing and increasingly globalized world of 2030 and beyond. We are scanning our horizons and adapting our technology to ensure we are future ready. To be ready for the change that we know is coming, we are thinking about how we work, how we fight, how we plan, and what we'll need to do in the future. We're an army in motion. We understand there will be new tasks, new threats, and new technology. We're embracing that change, continually adapting and transforming the way we train to bring our people and advanced systems into the future together in an era of accelerated warfare. The Land Operational Concept document is Army's plan for what we have to do and how we're going to do it. It will guide how we change and how we build our capability. It will mean that in building the Army of tomorrow, we will be threat-aware, concept-led, and integrated into the joint force by design. We have designed the Army Objective Force to describe how the Army will need to look beyond 2030 to be truly future-ready. We understand how we'll need to position, supply, and employ it to keep Australia safe. The Land OCD will be the guiding principle to support decisions about Army's future. It will help us stay aligned by capturing how Army's capability is connected by delivering our strategy as part of the joint force. By identifying emerging opportunities, the Land OCD helps us understand where and how we can make the most of the multi-billion-dollar investment in our capabilities. The land capability we plan and build today is the Army that Australia relies on tomorrow. Robotic and autonomous systems will play a key role in the future we are entering. To be future ready, we must embrace the role emerging technology will play in almost everything we do, from communications to intelligence, logistics, and electronic warfare. We are developing a clearer picture of the future role of emerging technologies so they can become core parts of how we will fight in the future. We are working with industry, defence science and technology, academia, and the broader defence ecosystem to build our understanding of disruptive technologies, enhanced human performance, quantum, robotics, and autonomous systems to maintain our competitive warfighting advantage. In the future, war will be different, and so will we.
So as from that short video, you heard them mention robotics, autonomous systems, AI, quantum. Okay? Rico is coordinating those on behalf of Army. I'm not providing immediate capability. What Rico is doing is informing capability. Okay? So what it means to you guys out there is that things like this, equipment and technology like this, I am not going through a whole CLC cycle to actually get it to you guys to experiment with, to prototype with, to evaluate. Okay? I'm able to get these sorts of things, small robots and all the other stuff that I'm about to cover, into your hands early to inform Army's capability life cycle, okay, so we can get on top of this technology. It is a giant task, but I have a great team that's working with me to get it done. Rico, as it states up there, we do a lot of exploration, okay? We have the job of trying to coordinate the multifaceted that is defence industry, academia and internal defence agencies all shooting for the same thing. Rico doesn't want to be going after something that Navy is going after or Air Force is after, but we want to maintain watch. They are the same, okay? If I know our interagencies are going after something with their star shots, we will maintain watch. Regularly monthly updates from DSTG occur between Rico and DSTG. Looks a bit like an atom, and the boss gave you a far more eloquent thing of protons and electrons and other bits and pieces chasing around. I'm not sort of going to go into that, but there are essentially three elements that Rico covers off. Okay, we cover off on the quantum piece, we cover off on our future power and energy, and cover off on the robotics and autonomous systems and artificial intelligence. That is what we are structured to do right now with our small team. I'm going to start diving into quantum technologies to start with. Please remember, mechanical engineer, not a quantum physicist. When it comes to questions, at the end, if they're regarding quantum, you'll likely see me do the box of death. Okay? But happily try to explain anything as we go. It is an advancing field, as my DG said this morning, okay, that we within Australia are at the forefront of. Okay? Boss had a slightly different slide, but it just pictorially shows what we in Rico are chasing when it comes to quantum. Okay? We are chasing the computer and simulation side of quantum. We're chasing the sensing and imaging, okay? And we're also chasing the communications and cryptography. They're three. Then the fourth one being in the center being the enablers and countermeasures. Okay, you can see that the technology's there in that inner grey circle, okay, and then the applications. I'm not going to dive into all of those applications. They are just some of what we have come up with, but we are not bound by them. Okay, if you think, as the boss said, what your iPhone can currently do, there was no such thing as an iPhone, let alone just as a mobile. There was about mobile phones playing Snake when I joined the Army. Now, what's in most of your pockets, okay, is much, 10 times, if not 100 times smarter than getting guys on the moon back in the 60s. What's quantum going to do for us in the next 10 years? Please keep asking yourself that question as I go through the next couple of slides. In April at our Robotics Expo, we held our Quantum Challenge, and I'll cover that in a short moment in my next slide, but we released Army's Quantum Roadmap. It is the roadmap to show how we as an Army are going to chase quantum technology. Everybody knows that it has high potential. It is a complex, diverse, but currently has a low technology readiness level, TRL. Okay? As I said, it is a national strength. We have some great brains in our country that are leading quantum technology. Our lines of effort, and I'll dive into them a little bit more in my next slide. I'm diving into how we are collaborating with not just industry, but academia, and having academia and pushing academia and industry closer together to get the outcomes we as Army would like. Okay? We are helping them explore what quantum technology can do. Okay? We plan on exploiting that as best we can. We're not hiding that in any way. Okay? And then we'll start the refinement. And there's our 4 objectives. Okay? That is our plan on a page. It gets quite complex. And when you ask a quantum scientist to try to explain stuff, I'm pretty happy that I got it down into a slide like this. Okay? My next slide, a little bit more complex, but it is actually quite simple. It shows how that plan over the next 18 months we are going to work. In November last year, we set the Quantum Challenge on AusTender openly to everybody in Australia to come back with. We got 13 responses. Of those 13 responses, we accepted 7. In April this year, those 7 industry partners and academia partners came together and briefed us the Quantum Challenge. That dived into those 4 areas of quantum sensing, I'll go back, quantum sensing, quantum computing, quantum communications, as well as having a countermeasure. So of those 7 people that came to, or parties that came to QTC, we dived into all 4 application technologies that we are after within Army. As a consequence of the QTC, we're in the process of we've evaluated all 7 projects, okay, and we're picking up 4 of them straight away. Army is about to drop $1.4 million on quantum within the next 6 months, leading into the next 24 months. And that's just stepping through the proposals that the guys provided us at our Quantum Challenge. That includes also working with our partners in one of the projects will be handed over to RAF, okay, and 3 projects will be remaining within Army. One of those projects is working with our strategic partner being BHP within the computing and simulation part. So I've sort of covered off on what QTC 21 was all about. Moving on, we'll have our key muster stakeholder where we'll actually begin to bring all the quantum people together. Okay? Army is coordinating this. Okay, with our outputs, we will continue to follow with QTC 21 over the next 2 years, likewise setting up Quantum Challenge 2022. Okay, that will go through the AusTender process to, again, dive down those technologies. I have a very small engine room when it comes to quantum technology. I'm talking 1 or 2 people. Openly here in the forum, okay? If you are in a green skin or you're in a green skin and know someone that's in a different skin, I am very, very interested in guys that are loving quantum or have an interest in quantum. Even if you are not someone that, or has an aptitude for quantum. It is not an ECN, it is not a trade, but it is a skill set that I am chasing. All right, that's me just on the wave tops of quantum. Moving into power and energy. As a RAMI officer coming into RICO, when my boss turns around and says to me, Alex, we're going to take a PMV and convert it to a hybrid electric drive, I immediately go, that's really cool. Okay? For me to take out the combustion engine, place in a whole load of batteries and the hybrid drives, going, okay, what's my budget? How am I going to be limited? What agencies can help me do this? Okay? Before I knew it, we're already doing the work. Okay? But I'll cover off that project in a little bit. What I want to cover is this slide, and I don't know who made this slide, okay, but if somebody's out there and actually knows who made it, I will then provide them credit. But what it does show is the motor industry and the declines and expected switch from diesel and combustion and petrol, fossil fuel engines to hybrid electric or pure electric. The technology in the last 10 years has come leaps and bounds. Okay? You've got New South Wales government speaking about putting in charging stations all around so that what people perceive as a small mileage of electric vehicle of around 200 to 400 kilometres, depending on which variant you can currently buy now, okay? Noting full well that the average commuter in New South Wales does about 40 Ks. But there's still that anxiety of what happens if I don't have power to recharge. I'll cover a slide in a second. For us in Army, it's not about the fossil fuel. Okay, there's lots of other things that we focus on. The fossil fuel is but one of 10. Okay, there are all these other things that a hybrid electric drive platform can provide to us within Army. Okay, the source of a directed energy weapon, counter UAV, counter UGV, really interested in that. Lower maintenance costs. Okay, as a maintainer, no offence to the truckies, please don't take offence. Okay, truckies break my trucks, I take ownership of them. As a maintainer, I go out and fix them. With a hybrid electric drive, they're actually more reliable than a combustion engine. A lot harder to break. And we'll test that soon. Okay? The ability for us to do further deep water fording, have torque, okay, immediately there. Okay? Having 500 Newton meters of torque at each axle on a Bushmaster is very appetising. And more importantly, I can drive it in to anywhere and it's quiet. I rocked up at the industry partner that is doing the work on our Bushmaster and they had a 20-tonne excavator. Okay, I felt like an 8-year-old when they started it up. Purely for the fact is my sensors were in overload. There was no big bloom of smoke, no giant engine rumbling as I'm used to seeing a giant bulldozer starting up. It was silent. And then I heard these weird noises. And then I realised for the first time I could actually hear the hydraulic fluid going through the boom, through the lines to operate the boom. As a mechanical engineer, I'd never heard that before because I was always focused on the rumbling of a giant engine. Okay, so my inner 8-year-old came out. The project that RICO is currently looking into, and it is but one of many in defence, but I'm only going to focus on the one that RICO is currently championing, okay, is that we are putting in 2 hybrid electric drives into the Bushmaster. Okay, 140 kilowatts, close to 500 Newton meters of torque instantaneously at each axle. Okay, we're expecting to get a range of between 200 and 300 kilometres out of that vehicle. and then for it to silent run for 24 hours plus. I'm looking forward to getting it into soldiers' hands and having our units actually test that. Because everything on paper says we will do that. I honestly believe we will do more. What's exciting is the ability for it to plug into any of our field power distribution and be charged off any small generator. I don't need a huge generator or anything else to plug it in. I can run it off a little 2.5 kVA and charge it back up ready to go. More importantly, okay, I can use this as a generator and run a whole CP. Okay, the range extender on that, which we're looking into, is a whole new technology where in the current Bushmaster, if you know it, there's a giant fuel tank on the back of it or on the rear quarter. It's going to come off, and in that space is going to go a new fuel tank and the generator. That generator is going to be able to exceed 400 kilowatts, possibly 1 megawatt. That is equivalent to 2 or 3, if my maths is right. Please don't, I'm not an electrical engineer. I said I'm a mechanical engineer. 16 kVAs. So you guys that are in SIG world running off power, this is a game changer. I'm expecting to take this vehicle collect this vehicle in November. DSTD are going to do some stuff across end of November through December, January, and I expect to have it in your hands in the new year. Your job's not to break it, although if you break it, we learn, and I'm happy for that. What I need you guys to do is explore what it can do. I've got all these great papers that tell me it can do lots. You guys will find bigger and better things for it to do. Robotics and autonomous systems. RAS. I've shown you my new pet dog. That's the version 4. This is the version 5. This one's waterproof, that one's water resistant, and it looks cooler in black because everything looks cooler in black. Okay? But these are in soldiers' hands now. We've got 4 of them. I've got one currently in Sydney with units in Sydney. I've got one in Darwin and one in Townsville. Okay? I was expecting to be leaving this one here in Brisbane, but I'm taking it back and we're going to do some further work to integrate some more sensors and other bits and pieces on it. The smaller robot there is a little Nerva robot. Those are currently being evaluated by all the ACRs. They have 4 of them in each ACR as well as at the School of Armour. Okay? It provides a 360-degree view. It can be thrown out of the turret so the guys are not exposed, and it allows them to take a further leap forward, okay? Keeping obviously a very low profile. It's also man-portable, thrown in the back. If a soldier is contacted, they can take cover. From cover, they can take that thing out and actually throw it out. It bounces. Okay? IR capable, lights, all sorts of things. It's a great little nifty toy. I said toy. My director's going to kill me for saying that. But it is a great piece that will inform us for capability in the future. It's the same slide that my DG had up, so I think it's the only one that I've copied from him. It informs of our RAS strategy. You can clearly see that the benefits of having these robots and autonomous systems within Army, okay? There is great efficiencies for us to be had. I can put robots in soldiers' robots in soldiers' hands, and they can put them into harm's way rather than their mates. A conventional infantry section, whether it be 7 to 9, that small team training, you've got a soldier that is operating a UAS, you've got a soldier that's operating a ground UGV, whether it's wheeled or legged. Suddenly you've got 2 members that have got their heads down and on controls looking after an asset. They're certainly not a liability, but they feel it. Okay, they've got their hands off their weapon system. Okay, they're not providing immediate protection to their mates because their hands are off their weapon system because they're controlling an asset. Okay, there's a psychological barrier that we are putting these into soldiers' hands so we can learn from that. The technology is coming where, and I'll cover it a little later, where I can get soldiers' hands back onto the rifle. Okay, and you can still control the robot or the asset. We are certainly currently in the enhanced phase, okay? The robots that we are dealing with are all remote controlled. We are currently inserting the technology. I've begun moving into the optionally crewed space, and I'll cover off on that. Hopefully most of you are tracking what we're doing with the M113s already. Okay, and we will commence to augment Army with these assets. And then the challenge for us is moving towards trusted autonomy. And I know Kate's going to be speaking about that and all the legal issues that we get to in your next presentations after me. All of these technologies, okay, all of these assets are providing a feed of some description, okay, to improve our decision cycle. I do not want the corporal on the ground being overwhelmed with all of this information. I can use AI to assist in that decision making. It can prioritise the information and give the information that is important to that tactical situation right now to enable the commander, whether that be the corporal or the general that's sitting in the brigade headquarters. Okay, so when I cover off on the AI piece, that's what we're doing, okay? That enhanced decision making, there is always the human deciding what we do with these assets. And the beauty of it is, you know, for a small amount of money, it's a lot easier to program this than it is us. I can throw all of these, again, into harm's way, and they are cheap compared to human. Cover off on the optionally crewed. I've got a great little video to follow after this because I'd rather show you what's going on. I'm an engineer. I like to show and let you guys do. Unfortunately, we're here and I can't get you to do. So the next best thing is I can actually show you via a video. But what I've currently got down at 7 RAR, we've currently got 3 platforms. They're about to take delivery of another 10 with another 20 by the middle of next month. Okay. So we are well and truly into phase 3 of our optionally crewed combat vehicle. It is not just a command variant, it is not just a troop variant. I've also got the Tillies for a logistic variant, and I've got an ambulance. Okay? Well, the presenters before were telling you what we could do with a small robot. Imagine what we can currently do with assets that we've already got. Okay? I can use these assets to put into harm's way, and then have soldiers come up and clean the battle space. Okay? CO 7RAR has full reign of these assets. I don't care if it breaks them. The contract that I've got will fix them. Okay? If they start doing dumb things, the CO will quickly crack down on his soldiers. But at the end of the day, they have an open arc within our safety case to work these assets. Okay? Explore. I don't want them to be doing conventional stuff. Conventional stuff will all happen. Okay, the guys are actually doing the training now on the 3 platforms that they've currently got, so that every driver and crew commander is actually operating these things already. As a mechanical engineer, it was really interesting to go through the safety case. I'm not going to bore you all with that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I've got a driver in the vehicle or I'm driving the vehicle remotely from a control station. If I have a brake fail, there's not much I can do. Understanding the Army has already accepted the safety case, already has all the mitigations in place for a brake failure on an M113, okay? It was pretty easy to be able to work the system to allow us to be using these things straight away. I will hopefully have technology work again. Enjoy the video. You will find that my boss is a fan of Star Wars. So what's interesting regarding, I'll go back, purely for the fact is that I don't want you to see that one yet. What's interesting with that technology is that it's vehicle agnostic. Okay, we chose the 1113 because the provider of the technology happens to be the OEM of the 1113. For integration issues, it just made it easy. Okay, what I need you guys to think about is placing that technology in any of our current platforms. Okay, that is going to be in soldiers' hands within weeks. Okay, where do we go after one brigade has utilised that asset for 12 months? I am not sure. Certainly looking forward to the challenges that will present us as an army. That then leads me into my next one. I have a great staff member that's working this issue with Deakin University. It is autonomous lead follower. They have 5 Rheinmetall 40Ms down there at Deakin. Okay? Think of having one of those vehicles up front, okay, with 4 vehicles, no crew following it. Okay? It is very empowering. The 2-vehicle convoy has been proven. The 5-vehicle convoy has been proven. Okay, whilst we've all had people a dead man switch. Only yesterday, I get to share it with all of you. Okay, we yesterday down at Ponegita had the vehicles driving around autonomously with no man on the dead switch. No people in the cabin at all. Driver, truck up front, 4 vehicles behind. That technology is here and now. Okay, I'm not quite ready to give it to soldiers yet. Okay, we will get there though. I don't know how long that will take, but we will get there. For the commanders in the room and online, it will be amazing. We will not have to do investigations of decoupling trailers. Okay, we'll just need to make sure that our soldiers have pressed the right buttons to have the assets follow them. We have some significant challenges ahead of us to take these onto public roads. I was chatting with my DG when we were having coffee before, and he wants me to get these things driving on public roads by the end of the year. I smiled and said, no worries, boss, as all lieutenant colonels say to their 1-star, okay? But I'm aware of the challenges. I do think it is possible. But for us to be doing that, it's going to take a significant amount of work. I'm also going to be calling upon likely people in the audience to help me do that. Okay? To start with, there is no legislation currently around the country that aligns to allow us to do that. Okay? So we will be breaking ground for the whole of the country. It is a great challenge to be set. But you can begin to think of all of those outcomes that we're exploring and the reasons why we're doing it. Okay? Okay, these are just examples set in stone, so please, the guys within the combat corps, okay, it is just an example. But if you can imagine what we currently do within an artillery battery, we have a whole load of assets, okay? Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, okay? But it just makes the argument compelling. There is a load of assets there for us to provide an artillery battery in the field, okay? It is manpower intensive, okay? You're going around 56 to 60 people just to get those 4 guns into the field and providing the fire mission. When you apply the M113 technology with a little bit of the Deakin University technology in the lead follower and the art of the possible, can you imagine having 4 RAS guns, all its logistics and everything else provided by simply having a headquarters troop in their PMVs? We go from having, manpower intensive, okay, to suddenly having a manpower greatly reduced. What does that mean for Army? I can put those other people to do other tasks, okay? I'm suddenly being able to create great efficiencies within our workforce. Don't want to be a maintainer, or it could be a great time to be a maintainer because suddenly I've got all of those assets that still need to be fixed. There are some great challenges for Army as we move forward with developing our RAS-enabled force. Go back to one of my first slides. Government has stated and approved a RAS-enabled brigade in our future. What does that look like? I am not sure. For the loggies in the room, okay, I quickly spoke about, transport troop, 30 people, loaded 15 trucks, carrying a trailer, 30 ISO containers. Imagine suddenly having, only 6 trucks, 12 personnel because we travel 2 up, removing the threat, and then all being able to have 4 other platforms following it. It is a combat multiplier. And I'm removing soldiers from the battle space and removing that risk. I can have you doing other important tasks in the battle space. As I said, they're just examples. All right, I'll move on to the AI part. And as you can hopefully see, when I asked my AI major for a 1 or 2 slides to be able to express what we're doing in the AI, I said, please keep it simple. All my other slides have been simple because I'm a loggy officer, I like simplicity. And he said, this is as simple as AI gets. It's my most complex slide, but I can hopefully talk you through it. Within the AI space, we're covering 3 areas, being cognitive augmentation, advanced decision-making, or decision advantage, okay, and swarming. As I said, I'm not an AI specialist, but I've got an SO2 for that. Okay? Within the cognitive augmentation, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it for myself. Coming into the job late last year, doing my handover, meeting my future boss, went to UTS in Sydney and got to see the brain-human interaction. Place the skull cap on, look at an iPad, Samsung, a tablet with 4 flashing things turning around your brain. You choose one of those flashing things and the robot in front of you does what you say. I called on it. I said, that's not possible. Until I put the thing on, made up the obstacle course myself, and took the robot that I was controlling without any inputs except for the graphene sensors on my head and me turning around and telling it what to do. A complete game changer. Is it ready for me to put into your hands? Not yet. How long will that take? I am not sure. But they are beginning to integrate those sensors and that technology into a combat helmet, okay? Use of Google Lens or other form of Microsoft Lens, a form of lens, you begin to get that all in front of you, okay? And suddenly you're looking from a soldier's perspective, from your perspective, I am no longer vulnerable on the battle space. I can make the conscious decision to have my hands on the rifle at all times. I can protect myself and I can protect my mates and still control my asset. It's really empowering technology. The brain-computer interface, really interesting as well. I don't know enough about it, but I just know that the guys are exploring it. So that's what the BCI acronym is up there. We're doing some significant collaboration, I'll get the right word out, with our industry partners, whether that's ICT firms or academia, okay, to commence their exploration of the future technology, okay? One of the previous presenters spoke about Athena AI and what they are doing with dismounted combat program. From a RICO perspective, we are firmly watching that and trying to take 2 or 3 bounds ahead of what they are currently doing. Okay, as I spoke about, the AI is all there to be able to improve our decision making. Okay, if I use the analogy of coming from a signal regiment, worked in a signal regiment for 3 years, and any loggy officer or loggy that's worked in a signal regiment knows the pain of working in a SIG regiment. So all the SIGs out there, I apologise, but it's true, all right? But for us, the explanation that I got, it's a single pipe that the comms is going through. At the moment, it's a garden hose, okay? And we're stuffing cricket balls, footballs, and everything down that hose. Okay, Army has picked up the medicine ball, okay, and we are changing the pipes so I can begin to stuff medicine balls down the comms pipe. But which medicine ball do I need first? Okay, so I can make an informed decision. Having the AI tell me and support me is what we're chasing right now. So it can reprioritise that information coming along that train line of information of medicine balls. And for any SIGs that I've undercomplicated what is a very complex thing, I apologise. Okay? That process improvement, one of the programs that we've got, we are partnering with Microsoft. So in a CP, we can prioritise that information. More importantly, if I've got a truck or any other logistic asset out there that's turning around and can read that that fuel tank is half empty, or I've used half the allocated ammunition on board that platform, it's automatically pinging that information. It knows it. Okay? What I want to do is be able to reach down and grab it, rather than having an operator like you guys getting on the blower and saying, I've used this amount of fuel, I've used this many rounds, and at my next resupply, I need this stuff. Likewise, getting all that information in a timely manner, the loggy, the S4 is running around headlessly, gathering all of that, trying to reprioritise it in accordance with the commander's guidance to make sure that those guys that need it and girls that need it first, get it first. That prioritised information is really, really, really important, okay? Yet sometimes we're still managing it via spreadsheets, because that's the way we've always done it. We're now working with the programs to actually get that automated. It's not a small task, but we're well and truly advancing that. And the collaborative robotics, I'll just touch on that one because everybody seems to be fascinated about the whole swarming piece, okay? It is something that is going to consume a couple of majors and captains that I've got working, both reservists and full-time, okay, over the next 2 years as we develop that, okay? Like the leader-follower and the OCCV, there's a load of regulatory stuff that we as Army can't avoid, and we will be breaking new ground within Australia to make that happen. That's the challenge that we've got with the swarming, okay? Presenters before spoke about the challenges of having loitering ammunition. It's the same processes to get the swarming happening for us, okay? Getting that technology in the air and in your hands so we can use it is what RICO is working towards. So I've nearly hit my mark. I've got 7 minutes left, and then questions. I'm just going to cover up a few challenges before I play my final video, okay? I'm not going to touch on all the challenges, but as you can see from what's on the board there, I have, and RICO has, an immense amount of challenges ahead of us, okay? And that list is not exhaustive, okay? I spoke about one robot does not do it all, okay? I have these robots which are in the hands of you guys and being experimented with right now. I've just spent $2.4 million and I'm getting a load more small wheeled robots of the small size and the medium size, and I'm getting them into every engineer regiment, okay, and every infantry unit, as well as the ACRs for further exploration. Purely for the fact is the feedback that we got from the ACRs supported that business case for further advancement. So those will commence delivery. I'm probably throwing an SO2 under the bus. We're expecting them to start rolling out into units in late August, okay? Certainly before the year is out, okay? Not sure of priorities, but all infantry units, all engineer regiments are going to get those. The little wheel nervers, as you can see there, on the previous slide, and the spurs as well, which is a slightly larger one. Also allows for integration of EOD arms and a load of other sensors. Remembering it's just a platform that you can bolt onto. Trust and tolerance of autonomy. It is something that we will constantly engage with industry, and I know Kate's going to be speaking about that later. Okay, there's lots of legal aspects to be going through, but at the moment, as per RAS strategy, Army is in control of our assets. Whether that be remote control or whether that be into the augmented stage and doing the optionally crewed piece. We are not fully autonomous yet. For Army, it's a huge cultural change. Don't underestimate it. I walked in and looking at all you guys, as soon as I walked in, called it a robot dog, I got smiles. Get it to do its little dance, and it's a huge thing just seeing the reaction, okay, of everybody with a robot dog. But as I said, it's a huge change for us to adjust as an organisation. Spoke about the soldier with his hands on, his or her hands on their weapon system and actually taking it off and feeling vulnerable. Don't underestimate that if you are one of the junior commanders and they in your team. Big one, everything currently is sovereign, okay? I spoke about us being leaders in quantum, okay? And all the other projects are us developing it here in Australia with our industry partners or academic partners here in Australia. That's really empowering. And I guess the big one up there, the challenge that I've got in my tenure as the SO1 emerging technology is to commence looking at counter RAS. Okay? It's not something in my last 6 months I've dived into yet. Okay? I have a number of defence proposals or proposals to review. I'm still not there yet. Okay? But it's something that I'm beginning to dive into because you can be sure our adversaries are already looking into it or are commencing to look into it. All right, and what does our future look like? All right, that was a snapshot of what happened in April just down the road from here in Brisbane at our first Robotics Expo. Okay? It was Army leaning forward, speaking with academics and industry and saying, what can you bring to the table? It wasn't a land forces, it was done in conjunction with the Chief of Army Symposium. Regardless of whether you're a mum and dad company or an industry prime or a university or, as I said, a mum and dad company, we put the request for tender out, okay? We had a number that got cut away, but we had 55 that were there on the day. They had their own 6x6 metre little box, a video screen, a couple of seats and a little desk. That's all they had, and they got to pitch us all of those great things that you saw right there, okay? I was there in my own 6x6 metre box, playing with a little robot all day, doing media and other bits and pieces. The only difference was I had the brown one, not the black one, okay? I'm here to tell you that next year we are running ARX, okay? We'll be in Brisbane in June, okay? I encourage you all to get out, if you can, to see it. Engage with academia, engage with industry. Okay? If you know of people that have got the cool ideas, okay, get them to respond to the tender when it is placed on AusTender. And that is my sales pitch. What I have done, and I see the cove walking down the stairs, but I think I've hit my mark because I said I was going to talk for an hour. What I've got is about 15 minutes, Marcus? 10 left, there you go. Did all right. So you're ready to have a Lieutenant Colonel dance in the square and have the hard questions. Please, I'm here to take them and happy to assist if I can. Yes, mate.
So, great presentation, thank you. You mentioned one of the challenges that you had or will have is that cultural training within the organisation. I expect one of the best ways to get that cultural training is to enable these RAS enabled technologies to be available to the Wonkos and the OTWs for them to potentially train. What work have you done to formally communicate these technologies into the Google, Red Bull, all that to allow people to train?
It's a cracker of a question. And to tell you the truth, I haven't done anything with those elements of Forces Command within the training cycle to inform that. It's a great point, and I will take that on board. Okay, I certainly see that there'd be great value in placing that stuff in there so that we, as planners in the art of war, can begin to look at what our adversaries could be doing, not just us. But at the moment, my focus has been getting these assets into your hands so we can commence that experimentation, shorten down our understanding of these systems, get it into the capability life cycle so I can have programs within Army invest in this technology and get it into your hands and have it supported. I'm going to drive that around because everybody looks at the I don't know. But yeah.
To be part of these trials, for example, the PMV, hybrid system, extra generators, how do we get to be part of that? Or is it already not yet?
No, it hasn't been allocated yet. So I've got a load of engagement that I have to do with the commands, okay, whether they be 1DIV, SOCOM, and Headquarters Forces Command, and I'll be working with those guys to then work out where we place these things. At the moment, I'll only have the one PMV asset. So it will be likely shared to the PMV infantry battalions within Forces Command to start with. Okay, that's the initial thoughts, but they're the thoughts of me. At the moment, I haven't even started work on my safety case for that, so I can get it into soldiers' hands. What I'm expecting to have is an ADR compliant vehicle, which Army has already accepted. I just have a different drivetrain, okay? And I need a long list. Hopefully it's a short list that I can give any person that goes in and understands that they are about to jump into a 16.5 ton vehicle that may have its axle weight slightly different and a lower center of gravity compared to a conventional PMV and can suddenly go 0 to 80 Ks an hour in less than 5.5 seconds, okay? I've already set the challenge to the CO at my school of electrical and mechanical engineering that I want to see him on the racetrack at Bathurst next year with his Armageddon as to what his next generation. He's probably going to put two V12s side by side just to try to outpace an electric PMV. But I want them on the starting line. That's the task that my director has set me, saying, I want to display this capability to Australia, and we'll do it at Bathurst. I don't know if I'm going to achieve it, but now I've publicly stated it, the onus is on me to try to do that, okay? So if anybody out here knows the people in Bathurst that I can get in touch with, please ping me. All right, I guess what I've failed to do is get to my last slide, is that one. And guys, this is all open source, okay? This will take you to the open source on the internet. For those with the DPN account, if you go to Army structures, through Army headquarters and into Future Land Warfare, you'll see the stuff that is all open to RICO, okay, as well there. All my points of contact and my team's points of contact are all there as well, okay? If you have great ideas, please let me and my team know. Our RAS strategies, our quantum roadmap, the Land Power Forum, all those links are all open source on the internet through Army Research Centre. I'm going to be hanging around the rest of the afternoon. I've got some more. We've got one question left.
With regards to autonomous vehicles, sir,
Yep.
do you believe that quantum technology can, let's say, eliminate the risk of counter-electronic warfare? And then couldn't that quantum technology then be used to strengthen counter-electronic warfare?
I could, to be quite honest, don't know how to answer the question. I think at the moment we haven't even explored it. What we could possibly do in the quantum field, to be quite honest, I think is endless. What we've got in our quantum roadmap, I think, is quite expansive, okay? But at the same time, I think it is that true iceberg analogy that we can only see this much, yet there's all this other stuff that we could possibly do. So it's like small robots, like the other things that Rico is trying to get into your hands. There is a small team of people that can see that these things will benefit Army. What we see is 5 or 6 things. Everybody else out there, suddenly you're also seeing 5 or 6 things, and it is quantified greatly to be able to see that these assets will provide greater capability to Army. Okay, one more? Yes, mate. I'm really well. Other than doing a bit of the tap dance, but hey.
Might be another one.
That's cool.
So reference quantum AI robotics and data analysis.
Yep.
Is there a plan to grow these expertise in-house with Raymond Tracy and engineering officers, or is it just a big focus on the industry?
I just happen to be Ramey, okay? I could be standing here as a combat officer, signal officer. My position is not coded Ramey, okay? At the moment, I don't care where that path comes. I know that my boss is trying to develop that in-house capability. But what you'll find is, as is our industry partners and as is the whole of Australia, we are bidding a small asset. Just in the engineers alone, Army can't grow enough engineers to support ourselves. You know, industry is the same. You know, I've got an 18-year-old daughter that mastered in a load of maths and did really well at school and has no interest in anything to do with STEM. Okay, maybe she's got a stepdad that's a mechanical engineer, but the issue is that's what we are facing here in Australia is there is a giant generation of coming through where we are seeking to get these smart people and there are not enough of them. Okay, Army will be looking within its own organisation to recruit from within. Okay, I was a GSO officer first, to have an engineering degree, put my hand up saying that would be great. Being paid as a captain to go to school for 4 years? Sure. Didn't know how hard I was going to work afterwards, but that worked. Okay? So I don't care whether you're an officer or an OR at any rank, okay? If you have the aptitude to be diving into any of these technologies, I just need to know. I can't make you any promises, okay? But I can certainly support it. We've got guys doing PhDs in AI, okay? And we're supporting a load of other long-term schooling projects, whether they be with our industry or academic partners or outside. Okay, there are many options for all of us wearing this skin. And likewise, Army is going to be reliant on our contractors and academic partners for a long time because that is the position that the whole of the country's in, not just Army.